Hey guys, how are y'all doing? My name is Murali, and I'm a recent graduate from college in the US, and I'll be going to medical school this fall. And this video is in a series I'm making about some tips and advice for applying to medical school. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the secondary application. Some things to keep in mind when you're working on your secondary application is that chances are you will get a secondary application. When you send out your primary application, most schools just do an initial screening, whether that be your GPA or your MCAT. And they'll just send out the secondary application to everyone who meets those cutoffs. So chances are that you will get a secondary application, and so it's best to get started as quickly as you can working on those secondary essays. So while you may not have the essays in front of you, there are some resources you can use in order to find out what essays the schools that you're applying to are most likely going to ask. And I'll leave a link down below in the description to a secondary application question bank that you can refer to and look at questions that have been asked in the past. The questions that they're asking this year are not going to be very different from the questions they've asked in previous years, so you can trust that these essays will most likely be similar and you can start pre-writing them. Alright, so here's some of my tips. First tip is when you're pre-writing the secondary application essays, write and answer as many essays as you can. Because while you may not use all of the essays that you write, just practicing talking about your own experiences and your feelings and your goals and how you want to become a physician, that practice will be very useful when you come across essay prompts that you haven't seen before, right? So practice makes perfect, and if you practice pre-writing a lot of different essays and get a lot of content started, you'll be better off for when you write your actual essays for the secondary application and make that final product. My second tip for your secondary application writing is to explain why. So schools are sending these extra essays in the secondary application in order to get to know you better as a person and know why you're doing what you're doing and how you think that becoming a physician will help you achieve your goals. So whenever you're talking about past experiences, or if you're writing stories in your essays, make sure to explain the reasoning why you did certain things and also what you gained from those experiences. The questions are there for you to explain how you've grown and developed. So take a little time in each essay to explain the context of what you're talking about, but spend a majority of your time explaining what you learned and why you learned that and how you will apply that going forward. Tip number 3, as in any writing, show, don't tell. When you're writing these stories, you want to convey a message to the reader. And the best way to do this is to show it in the writing and not just say things in the writing. In order to get a better idea of how to write so that you show and don't tell, you can go online and find some good examples of some essays. But it's important to remember that the point of these questions isn't for you to just say random things. It's for you to actually show how you do things, right? Actions speak louder than words. So in the past, if you're talking about how you've changed after an experience, in the past you might say, oh, I used to do this, but you can't just say, oh, now I do this. Instead, what you do is explain what you did in the past and then talk about the experience you had and how that affected you. And then talk about what you do now. So don't just say, I do this. Write a vignette or share a story about, I came across this event and this is how I responded to this. And this shows the change in mindset or the growth that I've had because of that previous experience. Writing like this, where you show and don't tell, will convey the message a lot more clearly to the reader and also leave a better impact so that the admissions office remembers you better. And that's also another extremely important point about these applications. You want to be remembered so that they want to invite you back and learn more about you. If you just write a generic, I did this, I didn't do this essay, they're not going to remember you very well and they won't invite you for an interview. So write a story that's unique to you and leaves the reader wanting to know more about you. And my fourth tip for the secondary applications is to submit as quickly as possible. So in order to get your interview invite, your secondary application and your primary application actually need to be completely processed first, and then the admissions office needs to read through your application and then decide, oh, we want to invite this person for an interview. And that takes a lot of time. And because it's rolling admission, the quicker you submit, the quicker the admissions office will actually get to your application after it's been processed. So submit as quickly as you can. I cannot stress this enough. In terms of a timeline, try to submit by early July, middle of July, end of July at the very latest. You don't want to be writing your application still in August. And for a more specific goal, when you get your secondary application from the schools, try to submit it back to the schools no later than 2 weeks. And this is where pre-writing really comes in handy. Before you've actually even gotten your secondary application, you should have some drafts of the essays already that you're going to submit, because you looked at the question hub down below. And by following all of these steps, you should be able to write some great essays that really show the reader who you are and why you want to become a physician, and will leave them wanting more and will definitely invite you to an interview. Alright, now once you've submitted your secondary application, it's just a waiting game. And it can be a very stressful process, but just hold in there. Even if you aren't getting any interviews and your friends are, don't worry, things will come eventually. And if you need to write an update letter, it might be worthwhile to do so. But hold in there as long as you can, things will work out, and best of luck. Alright, that's all the content that I have for this video. If you liked this video, make sure to leave a like down below or comment. And if you want to see more content about the med school application process, or just about med school life in general, which I'll be going through this fall, make sure to subscribe down below. Alright, peace, see you in the next video.